West halftime.
Fascinating first half in San Francisco. Steph Curry had 21 in the first quarter, none in the second. It's the Celtics by 2. Jalen Rose, Michael Wilbon, Stephen A. Smith, and Magic Johnson. We'll start with you. Impressions on the first half.
Well, I guess Steph Curry said, smart, you can't guard me. All that we were talking about when we pregame that he had controlled Steph Curry during the regular season, that went out the window. But what I'm really impressed with is the Boston Celtics. After a strong first quarter by Golden State, Boston came out in the second quarter, found their rhythm, found their game, and now they're leading this game at halftime. They got to be feeling pretty good about themselves.
We all know that we picked the Warriors to win this game. We should be nervous as hell. Steph Curry hit 6 threes in the first quarter, goes scoreless in the second quarter. Jason Tatum only has 8 points, and still Boston is ahead at the half. You don't anticipate that. This is a complete team. They had lockdown defense in certain moments, particularly late in the first half. Again, Steph Curry didn't score a basket in the second quarter. You got a lot of reasons to be positive if you're a Boston Celtics fan right now.
Well, didn't we expect this to be back and forth? Yes, we all picked Golden State. I'm not expecting any runaways here. I mean, the back and forth element of this. Jaylen Brown played really well, so did Marcus Smart. So I still think we're in a feeling out process. Steph Curry went crazy early, but I didn't think that was going to dictate everything. I still think that Klay Thompson, in matchups like these, is the barometer in a lot of ways for the Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors earned their reputation as volume, efficient, knockdown three-point shooters. But the Celtics are doing 2 things in particular in the second quarter. Taking away the layups and keeping them off the free throw line. Making them play through a 5-man defense each time. That's what got them back in the game and got them the lead.
I saw a lot of Warrior players grabbing on their shorts. Looked like that fatigue that I had talked about. You had to watch out when you've been off that long. Will there be fatigue? And I'm seeing a little bit of that, especially in the second quarter.
Yeah, maybe in the second half, though, the fresher legs will wind up being an advantage. Also worth noting, Steph Curry has 3 fouls in that first half. He picked up that late, and he was not happy about the call at all. Jason Tatum, Celtics, they were down as many as 10. They're up 2 at the break. They've got to be feeling good about themselves. It's halftime, Game 1 on ABC.
I got my own show in the morning on First Take. Y'all might have heard of that. And I got to tell you something. I specifically didn't say it because I was saving it for this set right here. I got something to say, okay? If Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors win this series, they're going back-to-back. They're winning the next 2. Steph Curry will surpass LeBron James with 5 rings. This one right here is tough. I think it makes next year easier because Wiseman will be back. I'm going there. I'm going there. The Golden State Warriors win the next 2 and 3. But I think if they win this year, they're going back-to-back.
Stephen A., let's let them win this.
I'm just saying. I'm hearing that moment. I'm hearing that moment.
Go ahead. No, what I was going to point out is this as well. Give Coach Steve Kerr some credit, too, because now it elevates him as one of the greatest coaches that's ever lived as well, if they can win 4 championships.
And when we separating these all-time great dynamic trios, you can't underestimate the teams that won it back-to-back or the teams that won it 3 straight times. That's elite dominance.
Yeah.
And Shaq and Kobe actually was able to do that.
If Kevin Durant hadn't gotten hurt, they would have three-peated. They would have swept Toronto.
Michael Wilbon, on the screen there, we of course see Steph Curry as he's going through his somewhat legendary warm-up drill. What's at stake for him here? We can talk about the trio, and we understand that they are a trio, and they'll be remembered that way. But almost every trio has the one star that stands out above the others, and clearly that's Steph here. What's at stake for him these next 2 weeks?
Well, it's interesting. You know, a lot of people care about the MVP of the finals thing, which I never cared about. I don't remember. I know Magic won multiples. I was at all of them, and I don't remember who necessarily was the MVP of all of them. I know Jordan had all 6 of his, but there's some others. And so that does not define Steph Curry to me. Steph Curry's greatness, Stephen A. has talked about it, the shooting. Steph Curry's greatness stands alone already for me. But if you get that 4th and you keep working on it, and if he's healthy enough and he stays with these teammates, then he puts himself in a category with very few other people. And point guards, to me, the only point guards in that conversation, really, Irvin, Isaiah, Dennis Johnson. And people forget about Dennis Johnson.
Forget about Dennis
it's
Johnson.
sad. They shouldn't forget about Dennis Johnson, but they do. But you go into a category where you're further immortalized. It's just more. You're piling on, and that's a great thing. That's what sports is about.
Well, to be further immortalized, and I love it, and I always bow down and pay homage to the legend. In order, when you separating these all-time great players, you can't ignore Finals MVP.
Okay.
You just can't do it. If they win the championship this year, and Draymond Green, for example, is the MVP, that's not going to necessarily be the legacy boost for Steph individually above some of the all-time great players who have actually accomplished that.
I'm not talking about this man, but I need to tell, without mentioning their names, on a few Hall of Famers. Because a lot of times when you run into Hall of Famers who have been champions, what they do is they say, look at somebody like Steph Curry, and they tell you, excuse me, did they win an MVP? I mean, did they get it done? You would have held up.
That's a small club. That's a small club.
But that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we are.
I want you to speak to this, Magic, because that small club matters. When you cover the game, guys like yourself who did it have a right to say, you have to hold people to the same standard you held us to. Are we accurate in saying that?
Oh, no question about it. And let me say this, we love Steph Curry. He's
no question.
Him and LeBron James are the two biggest worldwide superstars. I'm talking about celebrities in this game, no question about it. I think he wants to play well in this series. Why? Because people have been saying it. It's not going to define who he is. He's going to go down as one of the all-time greatest already.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need this championship, but it's just
to elevate.
Exactly.
Yes.
It just helps your resume. It helps you to say, you know what, I won 4. And I think he's looking at it like Kobe looked at it. When Shaq left, he wanted to prove to everybody he could win without Shaq. The championship. Steph is doing the same thing. Okay, KD, you left, but I'm going to show everybody I can still win a championship without you.
The historical implications of this series. The Warriors, we know they're trying to win their 4th title in this little era here. But the Celtics are trying to win their 18th NBA championship all time, and that might be significant to the gentleman seated all right.
You would have to throw that in there, right? You know the Lakers, we hate the Celtics, so I'm not going to shy away from that. But you know what? I think both franchises are chasing history like you talked about in different ways. And that's what makes this series so intriguing and so great, is because Steph wants to join, in that 4 championship. He wants to get up there with the other individuals who have 4 NBA championships. The Celtics, of course, want to be the #1 franchise again with the most NBA championships. And that's why it's so great. And I think that's why America is going to fall in love with this series, because it's going to be awesome.
For me, what hits me, Magic, fella, and the rest of you guys, is this. When I think about the Boston Celtics, I got 2 train of thoughts about Boston. When I think about Boston, I'm thinking about the fact that if this team wins the championship, how it just continues to elevate what we witnessed in the Eastern Conference this year.
Yeah.
Brooklyn's coming back. Milwaukee's going to be there. Philadelphia's going to be nothing to sneeze at with Embiid. And if they learn how to win, then obviously Chris Middleton will be coming back to Milwaukee. And so we'll see something special. Remember how epic that series was between Boston and Milwaukee. If Golden State wins, they're the Goliath everyone is shooting for. And that makes basketball that much better. I'm a New York Yankees fan and unapologetic about it. When you're that giant and everybody's shooting for you, everybody's gunning for you, that makes it even better.
That's why my answer, Stephen A., is the Golden State Warriors. Because a New Yorker like yourself, you get to root for the Yankees. Magic is a Los Angeles Lakers. So many people that love the Boston Celtics. But this is special for the Golden State Warriors. If they're able to win the championship, they're able to put up a level of high scores that their franchise has not been able to achieve. And individual greatness gets elevated with the Splash Brothers and Draymond Green as a trio.
This is only like the 3rd time ever that 2 original franchises have played for a championship in the NBA. Happens in the NHL. We talk about the original 6 all the time. These are 2 original franchises, the Warriors, and the Celtics. The Celtics, this is amazing. They're 17-4 in the championship round. Only 4 times they've ever lost, and you start thinking about that. And here, as tough as the Eastern Conference is, that's a great point, Stephen, that you made. With Milwaukee, we expect Brooklyn to show up at some point. I think we do. In Philadelphia, if Joel Embiid, they can keep him surrounded. It looks great. But if a young team with that kind of skill at that many positions, that athletic, if they win one, they can be on a roll. If somebody doesn't stop them, and Golden State is that team to stop them, we could be looking at them being really like the Celtics, where they go 3 or 4 times themselves if they don't get stopped early on, meaning now.
So maybe we're watching the potential of a dynasty in the Warriors, or maybe a dynasty in the making with these young Celtics, Magic.
Well, I like them. I like the Celtics because I think they know who they are. And also, too, I think Miami, Milwaukee prepared them for this series. I think Miami Heat really prepared them. They had shooters on the perimeter they had to worry about. So sometimes a team can prepare you for the next team. And I think Miami has done that for the